Beardo Banjo.
Hello everyone and welcome to my house. I know what you're thinking. Don't worry about her. She's perfectly splendid. She will not hurt you. She might hurt me, however. I've just realised she is brandishing an axe, which is a little disconcerting. I might cover her up in post with like a TV or something. I'll put some gameplay there. I don't like the way she's looking at me, to be honest. I'm here today to talk about probably my new favourite game that I've played in 2020 and something that I'm playing most evenings at this point, and that is Phasmophobia. Phasmophobia has kind of exploded out of nowhere and become an internet phenomenon, much like Fall Guys did earlier this year, much like Among Us did earlier this year, but Among Us is a slightly different story because it had existed for quite a long time and then had been picked up and kind of resurrected out of obscurity by streamers and content creators, etc, etc, and now it's huge. Phasmophobia is a slightly different scenario. It's more akin to something like Fall Guys because it launched and was immediately popular. People picked it up, people fell in love with it, and it has just exploded. And it's very easy to see why, but if you're someone who hasn't played Phasmophobia, you might be standing there on the outskirts thinking, why? Why is Phasmophobia so popular? Surely it's just another horror game. And that's why I thought I'd make this video today, just to kind of talk about why I think Phasmophobia is so popular and why it's achieved such acclaim so quickly. Now, while I talk about Phasmophobia, I won't just sit here with the terrifying Ghost Girl. I will cover her up with a little TV. Let's do that now. And on the TV, I'll put some Phasmophobia gameplay so you can watch that while I whittle away about why I love this game so much and why I think it's popular. Now let me just bring you up to speed if you don't already know what Phasmophobia is. Now I'm sure you do because you've clicked on this video, so you have some knowledge of what the game is, but if you don't, I'll just bring you up to speed. In the simplest of terms, Phasmophobia is a ghost hunting simulator. You enter a location either on your own or with up to 3 friends or random people that you've met online, and you enter the house to find out, essentially, what kind of ghost is haunting that house. You do that by finding clues. Now the clues may be things like a room with freezing temperatures where you can see your breath, so the temperature would be below 0. Fingerprints on doors where a ghost might have touched it, or windows or any objects that the ghost interacted with. Maybe they'll speak to you on a spirit box. Maybe they'll write in a book for you. Maybe many things. There's lots of ways that you can find out what kind of ghost you're dealing with. The overall objective is to find those clues. You have to find 3 of them, and then make the assessment of what ghost it is and get the hell out of there. It sounds pretty simple. In practice, it is pretty simple, but lots of things can play out and lots of things can happen in many different ways because it is a sandbox game, essentially. Once you enter that house, it's up to you how you tackle the mission in front of you and how you act while you're there. There's no set way or route that you need to move through the rooms. You just go in and find out what kind of ghost you're dealing with. And that leads me into the first point on this video about why it's so popular. The first reason Phasmophobia is so popular is because it's infinitely replayable. The game randomizes the elements at play in each mission you undertake. So it doesn't matter that there's only, I think, 5 different levels. A normal suburban house, a slightly bigger suburban house, a farmhouse, a slightly different farmhouse, a school and an asylum. I believe 6 is what we might be sitting on now, but I could be wrong. I think it is 6 levels. It doesn't sound like a huge amount, but the game randomizes the elements at play each time you turn up to a mission. So whether that's the ghosts in the mission itself, there are many different types of ghosts in the game. Demons, phantoms, spirits, yuris, jinns, loads of them, and they all act differently. They all have different traits. Some might be more passive and not show themselves. Others are extremely aggressive and will want you dead as soon as you walk into the house. Where the ghost is located is also randomized, so finding out which room in the house or which section of the house is the haunted area is also different each time. They might be haunting a bathroom, they might be haunting a bedroom, they might be haunting the basement, they could be all over the place. So although you've done the suburban house once, it doesn't mean when you go back a second time, third, fourth, fifth, 10th, 100th time, it's going to be exactly the same. I've played this game for countless hours now, and I've done these locations over and over. I've had extremely different experiences each time I've played. The game is very varied and very random. Now, there will no doubt come a point where we've almost seen everything that can play out, but the ghosts act in such slightly different ways that it's always going to be exciting. One ghost might flick lights on and off, another might shut doors and lock you in rooms, and you might get combinations of these things, but it's never going to be the same exact set of events that fold out in front of you every time you turn up to a location, which keeps it interesting and keeps you coming back for more. There are also other elements that play into the randomness of the game, so you could take a different set of items with you on each mission to try and make it harder for yourselves. You could only take the base items. You could load up on all of the high expensive items like head-mounted cameras, motion sensors and infrared sensors, and I'll come onto the items in a little bit. But you can tackle these missions entirely the way you want to. You could go solo and try and do it on your own. You could go with a team of 4 or a 2 or a 3. The way you approach Phasmophobia is extremely flexible, and that will play into it being popular immediately and for years to come as long as they support the game with updates and content. It's infinitely replayable, and that's a huge factor in how popular it's been immediately. There are so many random factors, and that is just one of the reasons. The second reason why Phasmophobia is so popular is it is sandbox fun. Much like games like GTA or any open world game, Skyrim, Fallout, whatever, allow you to approach the world and tackle it in whatever way you wish, Phasmophobia is the same. It might not be a giant sandbox game, no, but it lets you approach it in whatever manner you care to. You could go in and be deadly serious, play it like you're role-playing the characters, set up motion sensors in each room, set up cameras in tactical locations, check the temperature of each room and move room to room in the house when you approach. You could play it deadly seriously, or you could play it with a group of friends who just want to have fun, and you could have the most hilarious time. The sandbox element is entirely down to the people you're playing with, and the game does some things to kind of force you to play as a role play, but I'll come on to that in a little while. But the game really is different depending on who you play it with. I've played with several different groups. Some will play quite seriously, and the first few times we played it quite seriously because we were pretty scared. Going into those houses is pretty terrifying, especially in VR, and the immediate reaction is to play seriously. Treat these virtual ghosts with respect, don't use their name, ask who's there when you're holding the spirit box, etc, etc. But when you feel a bit more comfortable with the game, you can go in and start really having some fun, picking up items in the house, running at your friends, hiding in cupboards. We've had a few games of hide and seek that have been very fun. The game allows you to play it in whatever way you want. It's not forcing you to play it seriously. It leans you in that direction, but quite quickly things can become hilarious. Lock your friends in a cupboard, hold the door so they can't get out. It's pretty funny. It really is up to you how you play the game. Now, I'll come on to the third reason Phasmophobia is popular now because it links into what I was just saying. The third reason is it has some really intuitive design choices within the game that do encourage you to roleplay. I'm not the kind of player who plays games in a typically role-playing way. I don't act like the character I'm embodying usually. It's very rare for me. But in Phasmophobia, the systems at play whereby your microphone will pick up things you're saying, such as the ghost's name. Now, each mission starts with the game telling you what the name of the ghost is. Now, you don't want to use its name willy-nilly because it will anger the ghost, but it is a good way to provoke events and provoke the ghost to show itself. Your mic will be listening for you to use the ghost's name. The mic also listens for key phrases, things like "How old are you?" "Is there anyone here?" "Please give us a sign." Things you will have seen, heard in any ghost hunting show or any ghost hunting movie. The microphone is actively listening for these phrases. Because of that intuitive system, as a player, you're almost tricked into playing as a roleplay and pretending you're there. It immerses you in the game in a way that I haven't been immersed in a game for quite some time. Now, granted, I've played in VR for 90% of my playtime, and it is more immersive, but walking through the house, asking questions like, "Is anybody there? How old are you?" using the ghost's name and saying things like, "Maria Martin, come out and show me something," immediately makes you feel like you're in that house, and it immediately adds to the hilarity and terror of the game. The game is hilarious and terrifying in equal measure. It can go from very funny, all mucking around, locking each other in cupboards, to terrifying in seconds when the ghosts start to hunt and try and catch you. It really can flip on its head. But it wouldn't be that immersive if you didn't feel like you're actually there and taking part in the event. So things like your mic picking up what you're saying is a very intuitive way to immerse people into the game, especially if you're playing in VR. Very, very intuitive systems. The fourth reason why Phasmophobia is so popular is it launched at the most perfect time of year. Phasmophobia launched at the back end of September, I believe the 22nd, in perfect time for October and perfect time for Halloween. I saw the game launch on Steam and I didn't pay it much attention. I saw it and I thought, just another low budget indie horror. It didn't look that special, but I didn't look at the trailers. I didn't pay it much attention, as I say. Then all of a sudden we tipped into October and the game started to explode. The reason it started to explode is because a lot of people, were looking for horror games. We're in that scary time of month, especially content creators are looking for horror games to play, to give their audiences content, give them something to watch, give them something to engage with. And Phasmophobia found the right audience because it launched at the perfect time. Now this very swiftly brings me on to reason number 5 why Phasmophobia is so popular. It is incredibly watchable. You don't have to be playing to enjoy what's unfolding in front of you. I've played multiple games where I've streamed for friends who don't own the game. They just want to watch us play. They act like the man in the van. They're there telling us what the stats are and telling us what the cameras are showing and seeing things in the corner of our eye that we might not be looking at. It is incredibly watchable even if you're not playing it yourself. So of course it was going to do amazingly well on Twitch and on YouTube. The game has exploded on content creation platforms. Larger YouTubers, larger Twitch streamers have grabbed hold of it and pushed it out to an audience because it is just so easy to watch. People love to watch horror films. They love to see people investigating haunted places or supposedly haunted places. There is a huge genre for that we enjoy and engage with that hasn't really existed within gaming. So watching people pretend to be there and act like the characters that are walking through these houses, summoning these ghosts, calling out, it's exciting because the game's random. You never know when an event is going to kick off. You're watching a streamer online who's just locked themselves into a room and they're saying the name of this ghost that's apparently haunting the house. That's exciting viewing. It's incredibly exciting to watch other people play this game. It's very funny and you feel the fear of other people that are in the house when things start to go sideways. They created the perfect Twitch streaming and YouTube content creation game for Halloween, in time for Halloween. It's the perfect storm. It really is. Reason number 6 why Phasmophobia is so popular, and I just pretty much touched on it a second ago, it fills a gap in the market. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of horror games out there, and I'm a huge horror game fan. I play most of them, from the smaller indie games to the big AAA, big budget games. But there's never been a game, to my knowledge, like this. A blend of horror, strategy, role-playing, sandbox, and just infinite replayability I don't think has ever existed. So many horror games come out almost every day that are effectively at the moment walking simulators, stealth-based walking simulators usually, with the occasional jump scare where you're being hunted or stalked by something terrifying or something insidious. This game doesn't do that. This game turns its back on that, makes you the hunter. For a time until the ghosts get annoyed and start to hunt you, but you're effectively going out there and finding these creatures. You're finding the paranormal. It's very rare that you do that in any horror game, and it's very rare in a horror game that you get to deploy the amount of strategy that you can employ in Phasmophobia. I've seen players tackle the asylum on professional difficulty on their own because they know the right way to use the equipment in the right places. There's a genuine skill level to this game. You can bumble your way through missions, much like I do all the time, where you stumble upon where the ghost is and just about catch the ghost orbs on camera, or you can play it very seriously and you can tackle it with a level of strategy that isn't often seen in horror games. As I said a minute ago as well, people absolutely adore the ghost hunting genre. Whether that's on YouTube or on TV or in movies, people love watching ghost hunters. It's hugely popular, and no game has filled that gap in the market. No game has made us feel like the ghost hunter. Not truly anyway, where you go in there with the spirit boxes, the EMF readers, motion sensors, head cameras, everything. This game gives you the ability to live out that fantasy and become a ghost hunter without going to a haunted place and putting yourself in possible danger. You can do it from the comfort of your home on a screen in front of you, and it's genius. It's absolutely genius. It has completely filled a gap in the market, much like Fall Guys did earlier this year. They're very different games, but there's a lot of parallels to be drawn between Fall Guys and Phasmophobia. They both filled a gap in the market that didn't necessarily exist, whereby a game came along and filled either Battle Royale but platforming Battle Royale, or in this instance, horror but strategy, ghost hunting simulation horror, multiplayer as well. They both filled a perfect gap in the market that didn't have a game already adopting that space and holding that space. They both were infinitely replayable, infinitely watchable on Twitch and YouTube. They both had that presence. They both done a lot of very similar things, but I really do believe that gap in the market thing is massive. People are always looking for a new experience, and this is a new experience. It's not something like I've played before, and I've played many, many horror games, and I think for most people, it is a new experience. We love watching people get scared going into haunted houses, so being able to do that without actually finding haunted houses is great, and it really is just a genius gap in the market that needed to be filled. Coming to the end now, but the 7th reason why Phasmophobia is so popular is immediate out-of-the-box VR support. Now, I would argue with everybody that VR is the best way to play this game. It's wonky, the controls are slow, the movement is hilarious, you bend and twist and fall all over the place, but it is the most immersive and enjoyable way, in my opinion, to play the game. If you have a VR headset and you have Phasmophobia and you've not jumped in yet, please try it, because I promise you it's the most fun you can have with this game. There are genuine gameplay benefits as well. Things like you can have 2 items on your waist and 2 in your hands. So you can enter the house with 4 items, which isn't something you can do if you're playing on keyboard and mouse. I believe the limit is 3. Plus you're a little more versatile. You can do things like really tactically and perfectly place the camera in sneaky places in rooms. Playing in VR makes you feel like you're there. Team the VR with the voice recognition and a group of people who are playing quite seriously and calling out whether the ghosts are there and inspecting the rooms. It's a genuinely terrifying experience. And when the ghosts start to hunt, and they do hunt, they go into a hunting mode whereby all the lights will start flickering and flashing. There is nothing more terrifying than playing that game in VR, knowing that the ghost has gone into hunting mode because the flashlights will start flashing, the lights in the house will start flashing, and you sprint to a cupboard, close the door, and stand in there in absolute silence, because that's the only way to get the ghost to leave you alone, is just hide and stay quiet. When you can hear footsteps outside, you can hear horrible ghost gargling, and you know it's nearby. That experience in VR is genius. Absolutely genius. The VR implementation into this game from the word go was fantastic. It's something I'd like to see more games do. I'm a huge advocate for VR. It's a hugely popular and passionate fan base. People that own VR are very passionate about the technology. I'm one of those people, and it's great to see a game like this come out and give us the option from the word go. VR really does make the experience more terrifying or more hilarious, because if you're playing with people that are playing in VR, watching their movements as they bend backwards and crawl along and flail their arms in the air is genius. It is fantastic, and I think it's gone a long way to making the game popular, because the VR community has grabbed it and gone, yeah, this is what we want. We want more games to launch with VR support from day one, and they've just thrown themselves at it. And again, it's just another reason why that game's so popular. Great VR support. Okay, we're at the end now. Reason number 8 of why Phasmophobia is so popular is because I think everyone can see the huge staying power and potential that this game has to grow in the months and years to come. Things like new maps. A simple addition will make the game change and evolve and grow. New ghosts, new equipment, new maybe challenges, leaderboards, time trials, how quickly can you get in and sort out this particular challenge. There are so many things they can implement and change in this game to make it last for as long as they want it to. I've already seen that they're speaking about a prison map, which is very exciting to me, and I am recording a video today where I talk about all the features I'd love to see in the game, and I'll be releasing that a little bit later this week. There are some maps that I would absolutely love to see. The game has an extreme amount of potential to continue to grow and change. There are so many different kinds of ghosts and demons and creatures from all different kind of folklore across the world that they could add into the game. They could do traditional Japanese style houses with traditional Japanese style spirits from folklore there. They could change up everything. They could do different areas across the world with different ghosts and different folk tales specific to those locations. There are a huge amount of things they could do. Even simple things like character customization, unlockable outfits, unlockable clothing, unlockable hairstyles would go a long way to continuing to make that game infinitely replayable, and it's already incredibly replayable. And I think people can see that. People can see that this isn't just a flash in the pan, and the developers know they're onto a winner, so I'm sure they will continue to update and change and improve the game. So people that have bought into this game know that they've bought into it for the foreseeable future. They're invested at this point, they're having a great time, and they're already excited to see what the updates are that are going to be coming as we roll on with this game. It's early days, it's not even a month old at this point, and it's already experiencing some of the most incredible popularity and success that I've seen this year. Again, alongside Fall Guys and alongside Among Us, these 3 games have really shown that you just need a great idea and great execution to make a game popular. You don't need to be the biggest, flashiest, AAA, polished product, because all these games have issues, and all these 3 games are very simplistic. But they're extremely popular because of things like infinite replayability, incredibly easy to watch. They've filled a gap in the market, they're doing something different, and they're executing their idea with conviction and focus. They know the game they want to make, and they've made that game. And it just works. It's connected with an audience, and it's great to see something in the horror genre do so well straight out the bat, and something in the VR genre come out and just do so well. They are the reasons I think Phasmophobia is so popular. I could talk about it for a long time. I'm having such a good time with the game. It's really taking up most of my evenings. I'm hopping into VR and playing with friends, and every single time I do, the experience is different. It's captured the imagination of many people, and it's given us something spooky to play right before Halloween. But I think the most important thing is it's filled that gap in the market. People love watching other people scared, and watching that on Twitch, watching it on YouTube is hilarious. Whether the people are taking it seriously or just having a whale of a time and just enjoying the experience, it doesn't matter. We enjoy watching ghost hunters, we enjoy watching people scared, and the game lets us live out that fantasy of doing it without actually being there. It's a genius idea, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for Phasmophobia. Everything in this video was purely my opinion. Obviously, these aren't the definitive reasons why Phasmophobia is popular, but they're what I think of the game, and they're what I think made the game so popular so quickly. I really hope you enjoyed the video, guys. If you did, please leave a like. It means the world to me when you do. Drop a comment down below. I respond to all comments, and consider subscribing to the channel. It would mean the world to me if you did. I put out content pretty much every day at the moment, but definitely every week. I do horror content, VR content, all kinds of weird stuff, whatever I feel like on that particular day. But yeah, I appreciate all the support I get, and engagement with people is why I make these videos. I love to chat to you. So yeah, please leave a comment and leave a like, and I will respond to your comment. I hope you're all enjoying Phasmophobia. I will be putting out more content in the weeks to come, so stay tuned for that. I'm going to get rid of the TV now and set the little axe girl free. Hopefully she doesn't hurt me. I'll see you all soon for another one. Take care of yourselves. See you later.